It will be mine. I will win one of these days. Getting in Blood Wars this week. It does not look like we'll be able to make it. Not sure what the data issue is, but we're not updating the largest release this week. I think it's 3,065 screens. Pretty big release. Might just have an impact in the box office, but we're just going to ignore it, pretend like it doesn't exist for our purposes. Sorry about that. And yeah, I'm not a big vampire movie fan anyway, so whatever. All right, so just taking an overview of the talent pool, and these are arranged from weeks in release. You have all your Christmas holdovers. A couple of them going wide. You have Monster Calls going to wide release. I'm guesstimating about 2,200 screens. Box Office Mojo, which is our resource, pretty much the best thing you can use to get an idea of what theater counts are or are going to be. Yeah, you have a monster. Oh, interesting. This is interesting. So Monster Calls is actually expanding only to 1,500 screens. Okay, so that makes it limited. And actually, I mean, I can't change the prices, now, but we can update our information. So if it's going to be 1,523 screens, makes it very interesting. Then we're looking at. There we go. So then we're looking at a limited release. And that that changes the nature of my strategy all of a sudden. I thought the only limited release movie you would want to cast actors from would be, no, not Collateral Beauty, it's on its last legs. La La Land, but goodness, that's interesting. Monster Calls. Let's see what that did in the previous weekends as far as its a per screen average, because it's only on 4 screens, I believe, in the last couple of weeks. And so you don't have much to go on except for per screen average. Also, just of note that, and also Hidden Figures is expanded 2,300 screens. So that's going to be a pretty big deal. I'm sure you've seen the commercials. I mean, they're everywhere. It's in the NBA. I mean, I'm really digging the marketing behind Hidden Figures. It's coming out your toaster oven. So if this movie doesn't make 20 million, I don't know what will. Oh, actually, that's actually brings up a good point. One of my other, just giving away all the house secrets here, all the trade secrets. One of my other sites that I like to go to is Box Office Pro, which you can find at pro.boxoffice.com. And they often have weekend forecasts and stuff like that. Unfortunately, their forecasts come out like on Wednesdays, which is usually a day after I post the talent pool. So I'm generally going off of intuition and previous trends and just, marketing feel off of a lot of these, what would you say? Off a lot, basically just going off of like what I've seen in the marketplace. I consume a lot of media, so I like to feel like I'm exposed to a lot of the mainstream marketing. So I use a lot of that as basis for creating salaries. So here we have, so yeah, and so then basically they give like a weekend projection. I mean, look, they're human. They can be off or wrong or whatever, and quite frequently they are. No shade at them. It's hard to predict human behavior sometimes, but it looks like they're predicting another winning weekend for Rogue One, followed by Sing, followed by Hidden Figures at 21 million. All right, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Feeling pretty confident. And then La La Land, and that's the one I wanted to call attention to. Ryan Gosling, the charm monster, Emma Stone, the most expressive face in the business. They're doubling their screens from 750 to about 1,500, and that I think is really going to be your hidden value right there, because at limited release, and I actually, I'm not even sure it's hidden value per se, but I think it's going to really overperform, and that's why the price for La La Land is fairly obscene, 11,500 on up for its price for its release category, and I only priced up because I know that that's going to be a go-to. That's going to be your safe haven, your sure points. I mean, look at it. If it's gonna, I mean, if it really does do 12 million, I mean, let's just do the quick math. If you're getting 1 point per 500,000. And just to give a quick reminder, quick refresher on the scoring system, wide release actors earn 1 point per million in box office. Limited release actors earn 1 point per 500,000 in box office gross, and platform release actors earn 1 point per 100,000. So if you're looking at this as a limited release on 1,700, 1,500 screens, what have you, at basically if they're estimating 12 million, that's 24 points for your B-listers, and then for the A-listers, Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, with the 40% headline bonus. And don't forget your headliner bonus, very important. You're basically getting 33.6 points per actor. So, that I could see. I'm anticipating some La La Land stacks out there. I'm anticipating some, I think Sing will still be very popular. And honestly, I think they have their tracking or whatever they use to generate these numbers. But honestly, I think Sing is going to this is going to be the weekend that Sing outperforms Rogue One. Rogue One's doing fine. It may even hit 28, 29 million, but I still think Sing's a lot left in the tank. I mean, look at this. This is bananas. 221 million. $221 million in like what, 4 weeks? I mean, animation in the holidays, man. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And I saw Sing and I enjoyed it. Saw it with Mom. We had a good time. It's a very charming movie, although a little ethically questionable. They have a very the main character is a hustler koala. Like, he's like a promoter, and sometimes he stiffs his clients, or stiffs his talent. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, as always being as having spent more than half my life on the talent side, but also the other half on the management side. So I know the pressures of running a business or running an event, definitely, and having to make sure everyone's happy. So, but anyways, I thought that was it's a fun little movie. It's got a lot left in the tank, and I think this is the week that Sing overtakes Rogue One. Even if it is only by 1 or 2 million, I think this is Sing's weekend. And then Blood Wars, even though it is a huge wide release, we're probably not missing out on much. Might not be a lot of value there, even if we were to cast it. And actually, just for those who are watching at home, if you're curious, I did have Underworld Blood Wars rated out if we were able to get into our database at about, I had it fairly low. I had it at 7,700, starting at 7,700 and going up to 8,500 for Kate Beckinsale as the lead for this oddly resilient January vampire hunting, werewolf franchise. I tapped out after the first one. I was good. Anyways, so that's very interesting with the update to A Monster Calls. I don't think, and neither does Pro Box Office either, I don't think it has enough to overtake. Actually, they don't even have it on their projections at all. That's interesting. I don't think A Monster Calls has enough to overtake La La Land at all, but it's something interesting. It's something interesting in the mix. It's actually a really good value play, because at the time I guess I didn't have it truly worked out what the expansion would be, and so I kept it at 5,000. Like, I don't think it's going to gain a whole lot of traction, but if you're looking for pure punt plays, or to satisfy a release type category requirement, because as you all recall, you must roster at least one actor from all 3 release types for your 10-actor call sheet, no more, no less. This is huge value in just rostering a Monster Calls if you're going, especially if you're going like a Stars and Scrubs type of construction. And going back to strategy a little bit, Stars and Scrubs construction would be where you pay up for some of the higher priced actors that are guaranteed to perform well, like your Rogue Ones of the world, your Sings of the world, and then you need to fill out the rest of your call sheet with so those would be the stars, the most expensive ones, and then when you fill out the rest of your call sheet with quote unquote the scrubs, the cheaper options in order to fill out your call sheet, I would say that A Monster Calls is looking like a prime value candidate here. in the Stars and Scrubs construction. And let's be clear. I mean, there are several ways. There's several ways to get to the top spot. I mean, you can do Stars and Scrubs. You can go for a balanced approach. We so far in the 3 or 4 month history of this game, we've seen some very, very innovative constructions. They've all different types of one. It always depends on the week. I mean, you can't just go Stars and Scrubs every week and expect to win. So it just kind of depends on what the box office is looking like this week. And this week, I will say, this week is looking more like it's leaning more towards a balanced approach. Like you can take a Hidden Figures here with the headliners of Taraji and Octavia at 8,500 and 8,100 respectively. You can stack a Hidden Figures and have a good shot at winning, especially if Hidden Figures is projected to come out at 21 million. I mean, you could probably do a max stack, which is 8 of the 10 available actors. You could probably do a max stack of Hidden Figures and still be in really good shape. I mean, when you come to price, I mean, all of them are. I mean, it's 8,500 and below. I mean, if you do a max stack, you can still have plenty of room to play with. Matter of fact, let's try one of those constructions. So we're going to go into the feature presentation. We're going to draft a call sheet. Let's just see what a max stack of Hidden Figures looks like. All right. So the way you would want to do it. All right, so you want to get your headliners in first. You need that 40% bonus, and then you want to work backwards in salary. Oop. How do you do? Oh, didn't do that right. So hidden. Well, anyway, so you want to go the cheapest salary on up. There you go. Until you, and this is basically you're maxed out. I mean, even though there are 2 actors left, you still have to get 1 limited and you need 1 wide release. Okay, so look at this, 62,000 left over, or no, sorry, 37,000 left over. That is a ton of money available. So let's go. So then if you want, you can go Rogue One, probably comfortably. Yeah, you can get Felicity Jones from Rogue One. And you still have 17,000 left. This might, you know what? I mean, not to pull you guys behind the curtain, but this might be my call sheet. This is, I mean, wow. This could be a winning call sheet. And then also we need a limited release, which is going to be La La Land. Do we have? I think we have enough room to squeeze in Gosling from La La Land. Boom, 95.5. That is a beautiful looking call sheet. I like it. I'm clicking submit. So that's one. That is a really. I think I just gave away the winning formula right here. You heard it here first. The shot list, just the shot list. What other movies are we looking out for? Passengers is still kind of doing its thing. I priced it down 1,000 this week only because the box office is getting a little bit more crowded. Passengers, yeah, it looks like it's interesting. It looks like this wide release is going to come in under La La Land. That's intriguing. What else? And also keep in mind, also with these screen counts, these estimated screen counts, nothing locks until 6 p.m. Pacific time tonight. That after then you can go ahead and fill out your call sheet or adjust your call sheet with confidence, and then don't forget that the game runs at 10 p.m. Pacific tonight as well. Tonight being Thursday, January 5th. Okay, what other actors should we look out for? Patriots Day looks like it's staying static at 7 screens, so you might need to avoid that for now. Silence is expanding some, 50 screens. Be interesting to see what that does. Because on a per screen average, it's been absolutely crushing. Along with Hidden Figures, actually, which is why I'm very excited about Hidden Figures, and why 21 million, I think, actually could be on the low end, to be honest with you. Could be on the low end of, hold on, let me find, there we go. Could be on the low end of expectations for Hidden Figures. Look at this per screen average if you're watching at home. 58,000 per screen average last weekend. It pulled in 1.5 million on 25 screens. That's bananas. But then right behind it is Silence, 56,000 per screen. So, all right. So if we're breaking this down, so Hidden Figures is going to be on 2,300 screens. I'm breaking out the calculator right now. Okay. and it's estimating 21 million by Pro Box Office divided by 2,300 screens. They're assuming about nine. Did they right? Yeah, okay. We're assuming about 9,000 per screen. It's $9,000 per screen, which is pretty good average. Which, it's a huge drop off, obviously, from 58,000, but it's on more screens. Honestly, I mean, this might be a quote unquote bold call, but I think it's going to be more like 12,000 per screen. To be honest with you, I think audiences are primed for this movie. It's not even Black History Month. It's not even February, but audiences are primed for this movie. I think if it does 12,000 per screen on 2,300 screens, I think it's going to hit 27.6 million. So you heard it here first. 27. So look at this value. Look at this freaking bargain. For Hidden Figures. If we're thinking that it's going to get 27.6 fantasy points per actor, and then if you're going by the headliner too, if you get your headliners in, then you're looking at 38.64 fantasy points for the headliners. I mean, how do you not max stack that movie? And trust me, I'm kind of discovering all this as we go along with you. This isn't some nefarious plan to throw you off the scent of where the real value is. I think the real value, the hidden value, is in Hidden Figures. So definitely keep that in consideration for your call sheet. I'm really bullish on this movie because 38.64 times 2, 77.28, and then you have 6 other actors at 27.6. 242 fantasy points just off that one movie. Then you throw in a Rogue One. Then you throw in, La La Land. Boom, you're good to go. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What else? What else? Or even Sing, actually. I mean, at that point, with the money you've saved in max stacking Hidden Figures, I mean, it just can't be underestimated. So you can go Sing, go Rogue One. Pretty much the world is your oyster if you're max stacking Hidden Figures. Okay. So what else? Julietto, we can safely ignore. It's as far as platform goes. I mean, honestly, the biggest platform film this weekend probably still will be Jackie. I don't see any indicators on Box Office Mojo that it's going to be expanding anytime soon. Actually, let's open this up open up the release schedule into a new tab. Yeah, as far as expanding goes, it just seems like Hidden Figures and Monster Calls is doing its thing. I mean, obviously, we probably won't get a good idea until this afternoon what the screen counts are going to be. So, so I do encourage you on your own, if you're interested, just check out what some of these release schedules are looking like, what the theater counts are looking like. That's another good page to take a look at, is the theater count, because they update this page too. Oh, Manchester by the Sea is going down. Okay, good to know. I guess they figured they've taken as much money as they can. Although, I mean, once the Oscar nominations are announced, and I'm not exactly sure when that is. I know that's bad of me. I should have a better handle on this. Sometime this month, I think you could see a resurgence of Manchester by the Sea, quite honestly. But for now, it looks like they're shedding screens ever so slightly. So take that in consideration as you look at them for limited release. They also are limited release, so 1,100. Oh, actually, okay, I guess that kind of right. So I guess about 1,053. So I guess 1,100. The actual number looks like it's going to be 1,053. Okay, so we'll adjust that on our report. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Yeah, that you can leave on the cutting room floor. There's so much competition in limited release this week. I mean, and it's good to see too. I mean, Lion is strong this week. It was on 525 screens last week. I'm guessing it might expand to about 700. I mean, Lion, even though because of our software snafus, we had to do something. We had to, give you platform points for it. At the limited release category, it still could show it's got some staying power. But I mean, how can you avoid, though? Seriously, how can you look past La La Land? I mean, Gosling, Stone, Golden Globe buzz. I think it won like a bunch of Critics' Choice Awards too. It's just the buzz is all over this sucker. So La La Land, it's here to stay. Definitely consider that for your limited release. And then yeah, it's all about Hidden Figures. I'm really loving Hidden Figures this week. Let's see, Moana still is doing its thing. It's projected to come in sixth, 7th, whatever, top in the top 10, pulling about 8.7 million is the estimate. 8.8 million almost is the estimate. So keep Moana in your sights if you're looking just kind of uh, offer up a little roster diversity, a little call sheet diversity. Yeah, and actually, it might even be a little too high priced. I mean, for the competition in its release category, in its release type. I mean, 2,200 screens probably, 2,775 last weekend. I mean, it's just getting crowded up in there. I mean, it's an animated movie that still has to contend with Sing, and Sing is still going strong. Office Christmas Party can be safely avoided. It's probably going to drop down to limited, and to be honest with you, it's just not the strongest contender. Limited, this is usually the competition for your budget dollar is usually fought out over wide releases. But by the nature of the scoring in this game, I mean, limited release is where it's at this week. You're gonna want your La La Lands. You're gonna want your no, not Collateral Beauty. Definitely not Collateral Beauty. But you're gonna want your Lions. You have to keep an eye on those. As far as platform release goes, like I mentioned, I believe Jackie is the strongest contender if it stays under 501 screens. So we'll be looking at that at Theater Lock time as well. And yeah, we're totally avoiding Collateral Beauty. Why him is an interesting, hard to place movie, and I only say that because it looks like it's going to drop considerably. It made some really good money. So I think it was in the top 4 over the last weekend or last 2 weekends. But now I think I think it's kind of gotten, the lion's share of the money it's meant to get. So even though it's priced like it's a top 4 movie in the wide release category, it's really, you might want to avoid it. Just not enough value, not enough point per dollar value, for its salaried budget. So you might want to avoid that. Sing is still a strong contender. Like I said, I think it's going to overtake Rogue One this week. Silence is very, very intriguing. I mean, I don't know, 50 screens. Let's say it does Hidden Figures like business. Hidden Figures just rocked out last weekend on 25 screens. So let's just say Silence. This Martin Scorsese film about missionaries going into the Far East. Let's just say, let's just say that it expanding to 50 screens. Let's just say it brings that average down, that gaudy 56,000 per screen average down to about 30,000 per screen. If you have $30,000 per screen at 50 screens, then you're looking at 1.5 million. So that means that's about 15 fantasy points right there at the platform release type category. Ooh, 15 fantasy points. So will that be enough to overtake Jackie? What was Jackie doing last weekend? Jackie's been out for a minute too. 9,000 per screen. It's on 348 screens. I don't know. If Jackie made 3 million, yeah, it's still all about Jackie. If they can stay under 500 screens, 501 screens, you're still going to want to rock with Jackie. So definitely, check back and see, check back to the theater counts. And you can even check this page throughout the day on boxofficemojo.com, which is where we get our theater counts from. You want to check back and see who else is going to be declining or expanding. It says right here, updated Thursday afternoons. That's why we wait until 6 p.m. Pacific time to update our theater counts and lock them. So definitely check back on your call sheets, because I'm very curious to see where Jackie's going to be. Because if Jackie does creep into limited release, then it's going to be Silence all day. Even on just 50 screens, it's probably going to be Silence all day. And yeah, I think that pretty much is going to wrap up this inaugural edition of Just the Shot List. I'm not sure if we'll have these too often. It's not like I couldn't get a guest or figure out a topic. I just didn't have the time this week. We were really busy, traveling back and forth and getting some other stuff in place, trying to make the game better for you, trying to make it a better experience. We are, still rough around the edges, beta. Appreciate your support. Still tell all your friends, the more people we get in, the more of a sample size we can gather. So, and as always, I appreciate your support. Watch out for the newsletter coming out shortly, your game day newsletter, and also check us out through social media throughout the day. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus, Play, Pinterest, Medium, YouTube. Subscribe to us at iTunes. You do that as well. Just search for Cinema Draft Podcast. And yes, sometimes we get a little salty with our language, so we are an explicit podcast. So make sure your filter is off for that. And make sure everyone comes to cinemadraft.co. That is cinemadraft.co to play the game. And we appreciate you guys. Thanks for playing. And also go to dev.cinemadraft.co if you're already registered to play the game. And we will see your call sheets.